You know, I had a conversation with my parents yesterday. I'm going into the last year of college, and one thing that they mentioned, because I'm going to have two really tough semesters in a row, is that a family friend of ours, shout out to Tony, he has started doing this thing of gratitudes, where at the end of the day, you just think about things and what parts of your life are good in the times where, you're having a rough day, having a rough week, having a rough month, just what is good in life. And certainly, I have mine today. LeBron James signs with the Sixers for 2 years, 8 million. A lot of people, especially in national media, it felt like were a bit down on the Sixers signing LeBron. Number one, he has played with the Heat and the Cavs before. Makes sense. He has connections with Spoelstra. He has connections, of course, Cleveland in multiple ways. He gets to be with Giannis and Bam, so he doesn't have to play any defense, while also having guys he can really pass easily to. And the same, and on the other side, he would have to play more defense with Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, but then offensively, he doesn't have to worry at all. And all those things made sense to me. What I think was a part of this that I thought was undervalued were the young guys for the Sixers. So first and foremost, the obvious: the Heat and the Cavaliers only have two high level scores, unless I'm missing someone. And I'm really honestly going to look at the Cleveland Cavaliers roster, because I know for a fact that the Heat do not have anyone else besides Giannis and Bam to score, right? So looking at the roster for the Cleveland Cavaliers based off of ESPN, right? James Harden's a scorer, Donovan Mitchell's a scorer, Evan Mobley's still in that weird middle period, and that's it. You sort of hope Jalen Tyson is still doing well. You're hoping Max Strus can get back to what he was, but he's on the older end, probably not. And that's it. Dennis Schroeder, I guess. So for the Sixers, advantage wise, you have 3.5 guys, or let's just go with three. A half for Embiid because he's gonna miss a ton of time, and a half for VJ Edgecombe because he was a rookie. You don't know how that's gonna translate in the next year. What's gonna happen? We've seen even from more veteran guys like Mikal Bridges for 1 year, where their shots just get messed up from different things. Blah blah blah. I should have mentioned, I guess defensively, you do have Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. So, but on the wing, there wasn't a lot. It's kind of the same as with Miami, where it's like, yeah, your front court really strong. Like you have a really strong front court, but defensively, but back court is not great. For the Sixers, so starting lineup being Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron, and Embiid, right? You have VJ, who is had showed defensive promise. I think a lot of people agreed that he has the athletic tools, he has the build. He just needs to get some of the stuff in the right place. Jaylen Brown, a really good point of attack defender, not as good of a help defender. Tyrese Maxey, a not great point of attack defender, but I would say a good help defender. He was top 5 in steals last year, and I can tell you, as someone who watched basically every game, almost all of those steals were in passing lanes because he's so fast, but also short. He would just sort of hide, and then Embiid, whatever he can do. So LeBron doesn't have to defend too much, but does a little bit. And certainly, if we need to, push him to center and have Dean Wade, or push Dean Wade to center and have him and switch around, like we can do that. But at the same time, you have Tyrese Maxey, All NBA guy, and certainly All NBA level scorer. Jaylen Brown, second team All NBA. Honestly, probably should have been first, but was in the MVP conversation. Embiid, where even in a hurt season is giving you 25 or 26 a game on pretty efficient scoring. Seeing actually a pretty good resurgence for Embiid online actually recently. People seem to be sort of giving him his flowers because I guess they kind of know, oh, he's hurt and it's just he's gonna retire soon, so let's just give him his flowers. And then you have a young VJ, and I think the youth really help. I told my dad this that Joel Embiid's not a good rebounder. LeBron is. LeBron now can do the Jokic of he catches the rebound, turns. He's gonna have Tyrese Maxey, arguably the fastest guy in the league, VJ Edgecombe, who is very athletic, and Jaylen Brown running on the wings. And if he's with the second unit, cool. You have Anthony Simons, LeBaron Philon, Caleb Love, who, for those who don't know, because I haven't actually made a video on him, averaged 10.4 points per game, played 49 games for the Portland Trailblazers, shot 13%, 31, not 13, my goodness, 31% from three, and generally looked more comfortable as the season went on. I'm going to try to find per game for him because, or not per game, but to find how stuff changed for him over games, just because I'm pretty sure, because people mentioned this, that throughout the season he got more comfortable. Yeah. So if you look at the start of the season, it's like 5-0, 5-2, then 17, then 26, and so up and down. But then you get to, just checking the date here, you get to December, basically around Christmas. Then he's averaging double digits, averaging more and more. His shooting is up and down. Like his shooting is always going to be up and down, or at least for a bit. Let me do the whole thing where get the averages. So in the second half of the season, 12.6 points, shooting 35%. So he's getting more comfortable, right? Young guy, second year. So he's also flying. You have Anthony Simons, you have Justin Edwards, who's young. You have Adem Bona, Johnny Broom, Ariel Huckporty, whoever's there, Barlow, who runs, and LeBaron Philon, who runs. So he's just going to have guys to throw to constantly on the fast break. And hopefully, again, this is sort of a mix of teams that allows him to do a role but not be the number one. He will be the number one in terms of playmaking. That's true. No matter what, he is the best passer. Arguably, he's the best passer the Sixers have ever had, especially in his prime. I mean, I'm trying to think, because even Allen Iverson, more of a scorer first. I'm trying to think of who are some all-time guards that maybe... Mo Cheeks. My mom loves one of my mom's favorite players. Certainly had a lot of assists, but he's one of the best passers the Sixers have had of all time. So he's going to help out a lot there. He will be able to be in help defense, be able to, again, take a back seat. A lot of people, there's sort of two halves to this. This next part I'm going to talk about. So a lot of people are worried about how the offense is going to work. First and foremost, I think Jaylen Brown is going to be the number one option. I think it'd be a little, what's the word I'm looking for? It would be, I don't want to say unintelligent, but it wouldn't make sense considering his year to not have him be the number one option. And I think part of that is Tyrese, which a lot of people forget, was a very good off-ball player when we had James Harden. So when Tyrese had his best three-point shooting seasons, so this was 2021 and 2022, 21 to 23, he shot 42.7% from three, or in 43.4% from three on, what is it, 5.1 attempts? On 5 attempts. Right. Obviously lower than what he does now. But this was when the last time he was the second option, because after that you have him winning most improved player. That's after James Harden was gone. So when it comes to being an off-ball player, Tyrese is very good at it. He's a very good catch and shoot 3-point shooter. So him with Jaylen Brown and LeBron and Embiid is actually fine because he knows what to do off ball. He has good movement and it'll be fine. And then, of course, if he sees a lane, he'll just take it, right? VJ gonna have to work more off ball than maybe he's used to, but I'm sure he can do it. And again, he's young and I'm sure he's willing to do it because he knows who he's around. And I think a lot of people sort of underestimate how much power or how much of the ball Embiid is willing to give up. So I mentioned this to people who don't watch the Sixers as much, because most people don't. At least in my group chats, it's full of Knicks and Celtics fans. When the Sixers were losing against the Knicks, right? Obviously Embiid hurt, whatever. He had his appendix out, blah, blah, blah. But Embiid in the past would just take every shot he could, no matter what was going on. He would just take every shot. In that last series, all he did was try to get Maxey involved and try to get Edgecombe involved. Was he not 100%? Yes. He's never 100%. But I think it sort of shows, and I've talked about this because a lot of people are like, oh, Embiid just wants to take every shot. Oh, he's selfish. Embiid understands, besides this next year or two, I guess, because we didn't think this was going to happen, Embiid understands that realistically this is Tyrese Maxey's team, right? In the long term, it's Tyrese Maxey's team. That it's going to be VJ's team. Now he has Jaylen Brown, who he's played against, and, you know, yeah, they've talked some crap, but they respect each other, right? LeBaron Philon's here, Caleb Love's here, Justin Edwards, all of these different young guys that he has seen, you know, either around the league or just get drafted. Like, he understands that this team is getting younger, that he's on the way out. So in terms of the offense, I'm not super worried because I know that Embiid is willing to take a back seat. It might be awkward just because in his last couple of years, he has not been the best and most respected spacer. So looking at his 3-point percentage, actually he shot 33% from three, which is right in between the 23-24 season where he was averaging crazy and then got hurt. So 35% is what he's shooting at, and then he had the year after where he's terrible and he shot 30%. So he's been shooting 35% from his last 3 years. That's very good and respectable. I just don't know how much people are going to allow him to do that, or how much people are going to respect that and give up space for Maxey, who wants to go to the basket, VJ, who wants to go to the basket, Jaylen Brown, who wants to go to the basket but not sure how successful he is, LeBron, who is inarguably the best slasher of all time. Like, so that'll be interesting. Of course, LeBron and Embiid dribble handoffs will be great, unlike other big men who you sort of assume would be good at setting screens. Embiid actually is, very oddly, even though he doesn't have the mobility to sort of adjust his screens. All of those guys, Maxey, VJ, and I'm assuming LeBron will figure it out as well. They're very good at making sure no matter what happens, they get their shoulder next to Embiid's shoulder, hip, whatever is at the same level. And so he's an effective screener. So the dribble handoffs, the pick and rolls with LeBron and Embiid will be very good. Of course, again, we saw how how well that was, or how well that, I can't even say it right, how effective that was when we had James Harden. So that'll be great. The only issue I feel for the Sixers is, again, the center position. I don't necessarily. So what's weird is, if there was like a clear and well-known defensive backup center, like if we had Mitchell Robinson, just to throw out a guy, like that would we'd be set, right? However, I don't mind a Dembona, Johnny Broom, Ariel Huckporty, assuming that they can play their roles, again, be defensive first. I don't mind them because we don't need more offense. I was watching a video about the Pistons, and I thought to myself, would signing and trading for Jalen Duren make sense if we have LeBron? It was specifically if we had LeBron. And I said, honestly, besides, of course, the bias, because I talked to people about it and they said, no, I'm too attached to Joel, which I said, fair enough. But they agreed in terms of pure fit, it might be better because he's not a score first guy. He's more a defensive guy. And you have score first in so many other places. You don't need more. So having someone who is a good rim protector would be helpful. More helpful maybe than having someone who, is such a good scorer. I mean, Embiid, despite his injuries, is only slightly below average in defensive box plus minus, which is kind of insane. The fact that he's only slightly below average after all of his injuries. In terms of defensive rating, it's been the same in the last couple of years. Again, since the year where he would have won MVP without contention, and it's generally agreed upon that he would have won MVP that season because he was averaging like 35 points a game, and it's 34.7, shooting 39% from three, 11 rebounds, 5.6 assists, 1.7 blocks. I mean, dude was on fire. But no, this will be interesting. Power forward is pretty set with LeBron and Dean Wade. Honestly, how tall? I'm looking at who we have on the team right now, and I'm trying to. Okay, no, he's not tall enough. I was gonna say, is there a world where you can move Barlow down to the 5, but no. Apparently Johnny Broom. Well, I say apparently. I watched a bit of it, but Johnny Broom did pretty well in the summer league. We'll see how that goes. He was injured all of last year, but this is now, I believe, his second year in the league, so we'll see how that goes. And again, I'm higher on Ariel Huckporty than a lot of other people. Purely because, again, it seems like he's a good defensive player. So in 54 games started, 54 games played for the Knicks, he had a defensive box plus minus of 1.4. So he is a good defender. He's 7 feet tall, which has always sort of been an issue with the Sixers, where they can't get anyone who is 7 feet tall. In that time, he averaged half a block, but again, he's only playing 9.2 minutes. So we'll see. I think he will be more helpful off the bench than maybe other guys. I think he might be more helpful than Bona. I know people really are attached to Bona because we drafted him. What's Bona? Yeah, Bono's 0.3. And again, it's not like he has the athleticism. It's just that there are some moments where he's just a little too small. And that hurts. So it'll be interesting. But that's all for me. Gonna have a very good day today, I guess. Now that we got LeBron. I napped through the notification. So I saw it through someone making a skit about it, so that was great. But I hope, you know, I'm looking forward to the season now. Uh, yeah, I don't really know how to end this, so if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and have a good day.